In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn an ashtray into a nicely hidden switch panel. I really enjoy the sound and feel of toggle switches, that's why I picked them for this project. Now this is what the ashtray looks like after I pulled it out from the vehicle. We're going to have to cut this in half in order to make room for the switches. So now we want to take some tape and wrap it around just to where we think we're going to cut it. The tape is being used as a guide to ensure that we are cutting the ashtray in a straight and even line. Now after you get the tape on, here comes the fun part, cutting it. Now this takes a lot of heart, especially if the car is only 1 month old. I use a multi-tool to cut it, but I have a feeling that the Dremel rotary tool will work a lot better. There we go, it's not a perfectly straight cut, but the imperfections will be hard to notice. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. One thing that I'm not happy about is that when I cut it, I actually cracked it, so just be careful. Keep that in mind when you're cutting it. Now for the base, I was able to find this nice piece of plastic that was sturdy yet still flexible enough to play with. Place the ashtray on the soon-to-be base and tape it down really well so it doesn't move. Now take a marker and trace around it. And this is our rough outline. This plastic was flexible enough to be cut with a scissors, but I imagine that you might have to use a Dremel rotary tool to cut it out. Now we want to make sure that the base fits nicely in there. Everything looks good so far. Now it's time for the carbon fiber vinyl graphics. I really like the look and feel of this. It gives it a nice finished look. I was able to get it pretty cheap off of eBay. Now I'll peel the back end off and stick it nice and evenly over the base. Make sure you press it down very nicely. And make sure there's no air bubbles in there. After it's on, you want to make sure that you cut off all the excess vinyl. Just be careful not to cut yourself while doing this. So far it looks pretty good. So now we want to stick the base down to the ashtray. I'm using plumbing putty epoxy. This has a work time of about 3 minutes, so you actually want to work pretty fast with it. Break off a piece and knead it up really well, and don't forget you only have 3 minutes to work with this. But before you start kneading the epoxy, You should tape the base down to the ashtray. Don't do what I did. Now this is just a waste of valuable epoxy time that I could have been using. When placing the epoxy, you want to make sure that you don't have any clearance issues when putting the ashtray back in the car. Now this is especially important because this type of epoxy goes on pretty thick. I am now ready to start drilling. I use masking tape to mark the points where I want to drill. Make sure that you drill the proper diameter of the switches that you're putting in. Finally, it's time to place the switches into the ashtray. I'm going to slide it in and screw them down really good. I found that the needle nose pliers work the best for this. A deep socket might work better, but I never tried it. So I'm giving everything a little test and checking the orientation to make sure everything works perfect. Now it's time to put it back in the car and see if we failed or not. And it looks to me that we did a great job. Thanks for watching and please subscribe.